welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a video today on limerence. So limerence is obsession with a person, so infatuation, feeling obsessed with another person. It can often be misconstrued as love, but is quite different in the sense that they are more the object of obsessiveness. So I have experienced limerence before. I think when I was around 19, I got into a very unhealthy relationship in which I became heavily obsessed with the person and didn't know at the time, but definitely know now that what I was experiencing wasn't a loving relationship, it was limerence. So I became really obsessive with them. I needed to know that they reciprocated my feelings. I needed constant reassurance from that person. I would constantly check in with where they were, what they were doing, and I was very possessive in that relationship, which I think is a really good telltale sign that it's limerence that you're experiencing. But saying that, it's also really important not to try and differentiate between love and limerence, because that in itself can become compulsive, and you can start looking for answers where you're not going to find them. For me personally, the way that I've previously dealt with limerence is so the compulsions that you would do with limerence are things like checking where they are, checking in with them to see if they reciprocate your feelings, asking for reassurance from them. So very similar to any other obsessive compulsive tendency. You know, you're wanting that reassurance, you're wanting that certainty that they feel a certain way about you. So it is dealt with in the same way as other OCD themes, and you delay those compulsions. Don't text them and ask where they are. Don't ask for constant reassurance. So the problem with limerence is people look at it like it's something separate to normal OCD themes, just probably because it has a different name, maybe. But I've definitely seen limerence as being treated differently before, and in my experience, it's very much the same. It starts with obsession, so thinking about the person all the time, thinking about what they're doing, thinking about if they're thinking about you. Goes straight into compulsions, checking up on them, asking for reassurance from them, asking your friends if they like you, asking your friends to help you analyze text messages from them, asking your partner's friends, in a discreet way, if they talk about you much, or asking their family things about them. And there's so many sneaky ways, as with other subtypes of OCD, that we try and get that reassurance. Even if it's not directly asking that person for reassurance, we'll try and get that reassurance in other ways. And yeah, I think the main thing with limerence is it needs to be just put into the same category with everything else, because it's the same thing. It's obsessions and it's compulsions. The compulsions are feeding the obsessions, and once we cut those compulsions down, also work on our beliefs, the fear there is likely, if I lose this person, I will never find someone else like them, because you do really put them on a pedestal. It's weird now thinking of that desperate emotion that I had when I was really experiencing limerence. And it is like other forms of OCD. It's a desperation. I need to do something now. I need to make sure this isn't going to happen. I need to make sure they're not going to leave me. And I mean, it's safe to say that relationship lasted 4 years. How he lasted 4 years, I'll never know, because I was a nightmare. And now I look back at it and I just think, wow, that was really intense. It's really impressive that he lasted as long as he did. It really is. And when he broke up with me, I was absolutely distraught, because in my mind I was going, no, that can't happen. Like he's not allowed to do that. Yeah, it's a very unhealthy, very, very unhealthy like mindset to have. It's that intense obsession with someone where you think that relationship is more important than anything in the whole world, and you would put that relationship above everything, including yourself, including your family, including your friend. Like, you would put that relationship above everything, because in your mind that person is absolutely perfect. But also, they can very quickly become the opposite. They can very quickly, you know, if they don't give you that reassurance and they don't give you that that like confirmation that they won't leave you and that you are the most important thing in the world to them, you can very quickly turn and become really frustrated, really agitated, because then they're not giving you what you think you need. You don't need it, you want it. But because you think you need it, when you're not being given that, it can cause really, really, I mean, the emotions that you're having are already really unhealthy. They're already really irrational. And the anxiety that the need for that relationship is bringing is very unhealthy. But even more so when you don't receive that reassurance, the behavior that comes from the emotion that comes from that is extremely negative and extremely unhealthy, because of those musts, because of those, no, he has to reciprocate my feelings, no, he has to show me that he cares about me, no, if he doesn't do this, I won't be able to stand it. So looking at stopping those compulsions with the asking for reassurance, all the other sneaky ways you're doing it, there'll be loads and loads of ways in which you're doing it. You know, mine would be like checking if I was attracted to other people as well, because I would think, you know, if for any reason, you know, in mine I had an element of cheating OCD as well, because I would think, you know, what happens if I, you know, lose control, so loss of control fear, if I lose control, cheat on him, and then he's going to leave me and my life will be over, because he's perfect and I need him to stay with me. So it all kind of ties in. Like every theme that you have, you'll find that there's fears underneath that are the same at the core. So whether it's a fear of being alone, whether it's a fear of losing control, whether it's a fear of going to prison, whether it's a fear of losing all of your family, like they will all have loads and loads of different themes that can project from them. But at the core, it's usually the same. There's usually the same fear there. You know, you could have say a fear of death, and that would display as like health OCD, suicide OCD, harm OCD, like self-harm OCD. If you have a fear of something, it can project in loads and loads of different themes. So a fear of things like being alone, fear of things like fear of missing out, so fear of like never experiencing a good relationship again if you lost this one. Those fears can all display as limerence, and you can really, really attach yourself and your whole person to someone else, and they're the only thing that matters. It's all you think about all day, every day, and it's really irrational, and you do start to display some really, really unhealthy behaviors. And for me, obviously the relationship was ended, and that helped with the limerence situation. However, I have had relationships since where if I do think of them as like someone I would really want to be with, I definitely feel myself get a little bit like, not so much now, not so much in the last 4 or 5 years, but since then, like since that relationship when I was 19, I've definitely had incidents where I felt myself get a little bit obsessive, and I've had to kind of pull myself in and go, no, this isn't, like, this relationship is not the be all and end all. The only relationship that you're going to always have is the relationship with yourself. Like, your life doesn't depend on a relationship, particularly a romantic relationship. And as long as you don't begin, you know, if you're not currently in a relationship where you're having those symptoms, as long as you don't begin to treat the relationship like it's the be all be all and end all, then, you know, there's not going to be a fear so much for that to cling to. It's only when you start doing those little compulsions and you start, oh, actually, you know, they haven't texted me back in a couple of hours, I'm just gonna check in. Or, oh, I saw them, you know, looking at someone, I wonder if they're attracted to them, I'm just gonna ask them. Or, you know, having those thoughts of, oh, you know, if this person breaks up with me, I don't know what I'll do, because, you know, they're fantastic. Or putting them on a pedestal and going, oh, there's this I love, this I love, this I love. No one's perfect. This person that you're obsessing over likely has some big flaws too. And it doesn't hurt to think about those occasionally if you're, you know, suffering with limerence. You're not trying to actively force yourself to dislike them, but realizing that they're not this perfect picture that you've painted. And if you do lose that relationship, yeah, it would be really upsetting if it's a relationship that you want to be in, but it's not the worst thing in the world, and you will find other relationships. When I was 19 and I was in that relationship and it ended when I was 23, I thought it was the worst thing in the world. Now there's no, you know, time passes and beliefs change, and what feels like it's so important now will not always feel like that. And that's not being said in a reassurance-y way, because maybe it will. Maybe they'll break up with you and you'll feel terrible about it forever. But you have the opportunity to change that and to change your beliefs and your perspectives on it. And that's what's important, is even if you're not feeling good in the moment, you can change that. You know, just because you're feeling something right now, it doesn't mean that you're always going to feel that way. But yes, I hope that helped, and I will see you guys in the next video.